Hey everyone, Tim again, timscomputerfix.net. Here's another one. This obviously is a custom built gaming rig. And this is an AMD. This is complete with the 2080 Super video card, AMD board, and pretty nice higher end motherboard. I got this up on the bench, so I figured I'd turn on the camera here and let's discuss this for a second. Obviously, he has water cooling. He says the issues that he is having is basically no post. Sometimes he gets lights, sometimes he doesn't, I think is what he said. He said they've been fighting with it. They thought it was the motherboard, so they went out and they purchased another motherboard. And I actually think that this is the original motherboard here that they used, and they had issues with that one. Then they turned around and thought that the motherboard was the problem, so they went and bought another motherboard, which is this one, and installed it in the computer, and now they're having a whole different set of issues. Neither one of these gave them a post at all, so it's up to me to find out where the issue lies, and that's what we're going to do now. And I'm going to plug everything into this and fire it up, and let's see what the first things that happen to this is. Okay, mouse, keyboard, HDMI, power, monitor. Let's see, are we on here? Oh, let's give it some power. I don't even know what power supply that is. I haven't looked at anything. I do see down here there is an EVGA symbol, so it is an EVGA power supply, which is a good thing. Let's go ahead and flip the switch on here. I do notice one light coming on up here. I do see that. I did kind of inspect everything. It looked like everything was plugged in okay. Nice and secure. I do have somewhat of a light back there. I'm not even sure what that's illuminating really, but that's okay. Let's hit the power button here. Oh, that's dead as a doornail. Yeah, it's so. But it's not powering on there. Let's see. Let me get my flashlight. Kind of looking down here, and I'm looking for the front panel connectors. You know, I think this is going to be better for me at the moment if I lay this down. Okay, after having a better look here and laying it down, I have confirmed that this is the X570 AORUS Master motherboard, and this is actually the second one they bought. Very interesting. And I did check down here. Down here is where the front panel connectors are, and the power switch is connected to the correct pins. Let me get everything plugged back in. We're going to try a few more things here. Got it plugged in. Still got our same little power light back here. That's on the fan controller. It's the only thing that lights up. I'm also noticing here a power button, manual. Pressing that, absolutely nothing. Inspection shows that everything seems to be plugged in correctly power wise. I guess what I'm going to do next is I'm going to remove this video card. Start eliminating components. Let's see if we can get at least something to spin up. Let's plug this back in. We don't even get any kind of a post or anything. There's a hex post code display here. That don't even come on. Let's no, nothing. Let me open up the back side of this case and let's inspect that power supply a little better, because boy, it's dead as a doornail. Got this back cover off. It's very interesting. Their power supply here is not a modular power supply at all. So in a way, I want to say they went a little bit of a cheaper route. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad power supply. As you guys know, I'm going to go ahead and just target the power supply, and of course, as I usually always end up doing, I'm going to connect my test power supply, known good power supply, up to this board to see if we get it to spin up. Well, here's something very interesting in looking at this, because these CPU cables were plugged in here to that CPU header. But guess what's right next to it? Another CPU header. They've only had one header hooked up. Could that possibly be the issue? Not getting enough power to the board? Further investigation is needed. Okay, I have stood this back up again because I want to see if even this power supply even comes with another CPU header. I'm just going to pull all these cables that are all shoved back in here like this. No, this does not come. This does not come with a second CPU header. And taking a quick look at the motherboard manual, taking a quick look at the motherboard manual, it does show the two CPU fan headers, and it's got them circled together with a note that says if adequate power is not given to the board may not power on. These guys just decided to skip or ignore the fact that there are two CPU power headers. So I'm willing to bet that's their problem. Everything else looks like it's connected fine. And I'd like to know what, I would really like to know what type of power this is given. So let me once again get my test power supply set up. All right, my test power supply is plugged in. I've got my two now 8-pin connectors plugged in, ready to go. My 24 pins plugged in, ready to go. I've got power to the board. I've got my little light on there. Right there, so I know it's getting power, I guess. So let me just reach down and see if I can press this power button. Nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. So it's not the power supply, looks like. That's not good. Let's go to the next step. Okay, let me show you what I've done here. So I've gone ahead and I've disconnected everything from the board, all drives. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and pull these front panel headers. Pulled all the USBs down here. I pulled the front panel audio. There was a drive in this bay here. I pulled it. There's nothing under these. You can tell somebody's tried to clear the CMOS. There's fingerprints all over that, but I may clear the CMOS again. I'm going to keep my test power supply hooked up simply because, you know, it does have those two connectors. I've seen motherboards run with just one of those, you know, plugged in. So I'm not sure or not, you know, if that is going to affect anything. He does have his CPU header plugged in here, which goes to his pump. I'll leave that plugged in. So basically the board is naked for the most part. And we're going to try to, let me go ahead and see if I can clear this CMOS here. I'll pop that battery. Looks like they've already tried that. Okay, there is a jumper pin for the CMOS. It's right down here. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop this in. That's going to clear the CMOS. Give it a few seconds. Good enough. Pull it back out. Pop the battery back in. And I'm going to plug everything back in and give it a try. Okay, let's give this a little try here. Nope. Dead as a doornail, everybody. So, it is time to take off the heatsink here, and let's give our little processor a little inspection, shall we? Just to let everybody know too that I did remove all of the RAM. Got power back to the board again. Nothing. You can tell it's getting power. Little power light back there. Nothing. Let's inspect that processor. Oh! That came right out. I didn't even push on that at all. That came right off. Wow. Now we don't want to bend the pin, so be very gentle here. I'm going to separate that. I need two hands to do that, so I got to put this camera down. And then you can see here, man. Look how much thermal paste, man. That is a bunch of thermal paste. But honestly and seriously, I didn't even hardly lift up on that, and it came right out of the socket like it wasn't even really sitting in there all the way. I got to get this thermal material off of that. Ooh, it looks like a bent pin, guys. Yep. I will look at this a little bit closer and we will get updated here, but man, that is some thermal paste. Not that the thermal paste was a problem, but I'm going to check for those bent pins, so let me get that cleaned up and we'll go from there. Alright, let's have a look here what we got. This is just horrible. Oh man. I don't want to mess up and get even more on it. This is just bad. Look at, I mean, this is bad. Look at that stuff just hanging and gooping off of this. Ugh. Worst thing I could do is get more on those pins, so my God. Ugh. Got to do my best to get the excess off of here first so I don't, oh no, end up in a worse position. Wow. Well, I'm going to try my best here. Now how about that, huh? Wow, that got out of the way pretty good. That did too. Now I'm wiping this off on a rag, a dry rag, so I don't spread it. And for gosh sakes, don't press down on this. Nope, came off like a whole string, didn't it, there? Okay. I'll set that down. I'm going to get a magnifying glass there, look a little closer. See a little bit here. That looks pretty dang clean. Pins look okay. Clean this off and see what kind of processor this is. This is the Ryzen 7 3700X is what this is. It's cleaned up. See, luckily I didn't like spread it in there or mash it or anything to where it really got squished down in there. It came off relatively easy. I may clean up a little bit on this edge I see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a test processor on this build. I'm going to put in a test processor, an i3, just to see if I can get it to at least fire up. And if it doesn't fire up, well, I'll figure out what I'm going to do after that. I'll either pull that board or I'll just go ahead and pull out this other motherboard that's in this box just to test this processor that we have here. I'll make that decision. But anyways, this is interesting. So what I have here is a known good motherboard. This is my test motherboard. This is the way I've decided to go right now. So I know for a fact that this board works because I test processors on it all the time. This is the step that I'm going to take. I'm going to install this processor into this just to make sure that this processor works. It's not going in there flush. That's odd. Why not? It isn't. It's not setting down in there. That's not good. Thought I inspected these pins and all looked good. Maybe I see one small bent pin. I do. Here's one very, very small bent pin on this corner. So let me explain to you what I'm thinking here. Because I had this is my i3 that I had in here. This is my test processor also. This is the stock heatsink that was on that i3 processor right here. So whenever I went to take this off, as is the case with any time I go to take a heatsink off of a processor, after loosening the screws, there was some tension. I could not pull straight up on this because the thermal paste was, bonding to the processor. So, as usual, what I do is I do some slight twists and try to pull because I don't want to yank it out of the socket. So after doing a few slight twists and lifting, I I was met with some resistance, but after twisting for a while, I finally was able to remove the heatsink from the processor. Whenever on the original board here, this build I'm having problems with that water-cooled heatsink that was on there, when I unloosened the screws, it came right up. I mean, no tension, no anything. So that makes me think that the customer removed the processor with the heatsink still stuck on it from the old board, and really just kind of sat that down onto the new board without separating it or lifting the arm to lock it. It just sat it down into the pins like that. That is what I'm thinking. I was met with zero resistance. It's just a theory, and therefore we have a very, very, very slight, small pin, which isn't that big a deal. I can bend that back. Relatively simple. Yeah, it is bent slightly. I missed that when I looked at it originally. Maybe 2. They're not that badly bent. So let's straighten out some pins. Let's see if I can just get that bent back just a little bit. This way. Oop, I think I got it. Let's see. Okay, yeah. That one might have went just a little bit too far, so I'm just going to bump it back just a teeny bit. I think it might be enough to at least get into the socket. I think we're okay. Right, so let me try to get this into the socket. It's pretty close. I don't want to mess with them anymore. Let me pull that board back and let's try it again. There we go. That sat in there a lot better. So we're in good shape. I feel confident this is going to fire right up. Put the 1 stick of RAM in here that I know works. Yep. And won't really use much. I got some thermal paste on this already, but this is just a test to see if I get this is just a test to see if I get a post or anything. Put that on there like that. I have a feeling we're going to be okay. Unless they did something terrible to the processor that I'm not aware of. Little test card, since the 3700X has no graphics. Put in my test card. Plug in my test power supply. Let's go ahead and give it some power. I don't have any keyboard or mouse or nothing. I'm not really too worried about. See what happens here. I'm going to jumper the power button here, and oh, guess what? We fire up. So let's see if we get any sort of post. And of course, we're going to do a couple of reboots here. That's what it does, just to start determining stuff. Ah, look at there. We got a post. So pretty much we can say that the processor is okay. Pretty much. I'm going to reset this processor back on that board and we're going to test it. I'm going to open this up and we're going to pop in that processor, that i7. This i7, the one that we know works and is fine. Oh, it sat right down in there just so nicely. Go ahead and close that down. Now I'm feeling better about all this goop. Let me go ahead and, it's unbelievable, snip this. This was a prime example. Actually, that much thermal paste does worse than good. It actually hampers the thermal transfer. So we're just going to clean that up. All right. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to take a piece of a coffee filter and I'm going to use isopropyl alcohol to get any of the excess old thermal paste off. The coffee filter is lint free and it doesn't cause any micro abrasions or anything. Just something simple like that is fine. And then we're going to just go ahead and apply our new thermal paste before we mount this heatsink again. I'm going to put a pea size in the middle of the processor. I'm going to stick my finger into this plastic bag and I'm going to use that to spread so I don't get my oily fingers from my skin oil all over this processor while I do this. So yeah, we'll just spread it out nice and even. There's no reason to go any thicker than that. That's very thin. Okay, there you go. There's that. Finger tight. Give it a little quarter turn just to ensure that it's snug. That's all you need right there. Right? Let's just go ahead. We're going to use his original power supply. There we go. That's in there. Only one. Oops. Only one. I don't know. We shall see. Alright, we'll wait to secure that also. A couple of PCI Express power plugs to come back in there. We just want to get a post to confirm. RAM, okay. Powered on. Oh, well. Look what we have there. Got a light. We didn't have that before. Not gonna plug nothing else in. Let's just give this a try. Oh goodness! How about that? Looks like we're starting to load here. Let's see if we get a post. Oh, what do you know? What do you know? We have a post. Ha ha. Well, pretty much everything else that I'm going to do is just putting this all back together, plugging everything back in. Once everything's together, you know, I'll test to be sure, I'll stress test it to be sure that, you know, that one power connectors will be okay. I mean, I'm quite sure it is. But look, looks like this one is a completed repair. Lesson learned, everyone, about processors and about thermal material. Hey, by the way, I'll have a link down in the bottom of this video for all the parts you see here, just in case if you're interested. Have a great YouTube day. Back on the new board. Okay, damn it. God, no. Get down. Get down. I'm working, Kit Kat. No. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, why don't you head right down below here, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. That would be really awesome. I have much more computer repair videos coming your way. There's also a bell you can click for to get notifications for my videos. I really appreciate everybody's support. And as usual, everyone, until next time, see you soon.